What if the biggest leadership test you'll ever face happens when you think absolutely no one is watching? We're about to dive into a timeless story that, well, it's not just a fable. Think of it as a practical guide for anyone who really wants to get to the heart of what it means to lead.
So, let's start with that big question. What is the real measure of a leader? Is it how brilliant their strategies are? How powerful their ambition is? Or is it something quieter? Something that isn't tested in a war room or a boardroom, but in a simple, unguarded moment of humanity.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a classic leadership problem. We've got an aging king who needs a successor, but his way of finding one is anything but conventional. See, he's not looking for the richest guy or the most powerful. He is searching for something way more valuable.
The king sends out a royal proclamation, and here's the part that changes everything. The number one qualification wasn't about military genius or economic skill. No, the main requirement, right there in the decree, was an immense love for their fellow human beings. He wasn't looking for a ruler. He was looking for a leader defined by their heart.
So, way out in a remote village, far from all the power and politics, a poor but genuinely kind-hearted young man reads this notice. And he's not driven by a hunger for power. He's moved by the idea of actually serving people. His journey starts not with privilege, but with character.
And you can see his commitment right from the get-go. He works his tail off, saves up every single coin he can, and gets himself ready. Not with fancy gear, but with dignity. He buys one single new outfit for the interview. With just a little food in hand, he sets off on foot. Every step of this long journey is already showing us who he is, long before he ever gets to the palace.
After so many grueling days on the road, the palace is finally in sight. But this is the moment the real test begins. And it's a test he doesn't even know he's taking. This is that exact point where ambition collides head-on with humanity. Just try to picture it. He's so close. His goal is right there. And then he sees him. A man on the side of the road, covered in nothing but tattered rags, just trembling from hunger and cold. A living picture of total desperation.
And the beggar's words are just so simple, so direct, and absolutely heartbreaking. I am hungry and cold. Please help me, sir. In that one instant, a simple request becomes a choice that is going to define his entire future.
And this is it. This is the conflict, laid out perfectly. On one side, you've got his ambition, this one shot he has to impress the king, and on the other, his compassion for a fellow human being in desperate need. Helping this man means sacrificing the very clothes, the very presentation he worked so hard to get. What's he gonna do? He doesn't even hesitate. He chooses compassion. He gives the beggar his brand new clothes and what little food he has left, and he expects nothing back. He now has to go face the king in his old, dirty rags, thinking his chances are completely ruined. He's hesitant, sure, but his decision is firm. This is that crucial pivot from focusing on himself to selfless service. And now we get to the climax of the story. He finally arrives at the palace, all disheveled, probably feeling totally defeated. He's shown into the great hall for the interview he traveled so far for, with no idea that the most important part is already over. So, they bring him into the throne room. He bows low before the king, just like you're supposed to. But when he lifts his eyes, he gasps. The man sitting on the throne, he looks incredibly familiar. And the king just says it. Yes, I was the beggar you met. And in that one sentence, everything just clicks into place. And even on the road, it wasn't some random obstacle. It was the entire interview. But this brings up a really deep question, right? Why on earth would a king disguise himself as a beggar? Why would someone with all the power in the world choose to appear completely powerless? The answer tells you everything you need to know about his idea of leadership. The king's logic is just brilliant. He explains, I had to be sure that you had a good heart. He knew that if he showed up as a king, of course, anyone would try to impress him. But by showing up as a beggar, he could see what was really inside a person's heart when they thought they had absolutely nothing to gain. And this is where this whole story transforms into a lesson for all of us. The king wasn't just looking for a nice guy. He was making a really powerful statement. True kindness isn't some optional extra for a leader. It is the absolute core of their power. So this is the king's whole philosophy of noble leadership. It's this deep understanding that a leader has to work for the good of all their people, especially the most vulnerable. That's how you build a foundation of unbreakable trust. This isn't just about being moral, it's about being smart. That sincere love for your fellow human beings, that's what inspires real loyalty and creates a kingdom that doesn't just obey, it actually thrives.
You know what makes the young man's act so powerful? It's that he expected nothing in return. In fact, he fully expected to lose his big opportunity because of it. That one single act of giving when it cost you something real, that is the undeniable mark of a true leader. At the end of the day, it really all comes down to this one powerful idea. Kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. I mean, a leader can have all the strategic genius in the world, but without compassion, that wisdom can get cold and calculating and totally disconnected. True wisdom starts when a leader finally understands that their humanity is their greatest and most powerful asset.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. Your test isn't going to be a king in disguise on the side of the road. It's in the small, everyday choices you make when you think nobody's looking. So when that moment comes for you, and believe me, it will, what will your heart reveal?